On May 26, 2018, the fourth person to walk on the moon passed away. Astronaut Alan Bean didn't just explore space on missions like Apollo to the moon and Skylab on the International Space Station. He also painted what he saw for the latter half of his career. His paintings beautifully depict what hardly any other humans have ever seen for themselves. As we mourn his loss around Memorial Day and consider the future of human spaceflight, it's valuable to reflect on how historical narratives are displayed through art. As visual thinkers, much of our subjective understanding of the past comes not from text or oral stories, but the visceral, living pictures we see prominently displayed in museums and galleries. Unlike a photograph or video, these works were hardly ever captured as the events they depict were actually taking place. As such, there's a kind of narrative fiction that the artists of these works are responsible for building into their canvases. Consider the painting Watson and the Shark by John Singleton Copley. It depicts a shark attack off the coast of Havana Harbor that happened around 30 years before it was actually painted. Copley had never even been to Havana, and like most people back then, had probably never seen a shark either, not even a picture of one. This gives the painting a few factual inaccuracies, but his audiences were captivated by the story it tells nonetheless. Bean, in his own way, was a contributor to the American tradition of telling exploration stories in paint, only in his case, he had the privilege of actually being at the alien places he depicted.
My theory is they should have taken an artist along with Christopher Columbus, because that would have been a nice thing to know what happened when he got there, what the other captains of the other ships looked like, what the crew looked like.
It's this ability to tell a story so immediately that makes visual art in general so influential on how humans perceive events that they've never seen in person. Before digital media, cameras, or film existed, a painting was really the closest one could get to experiencing something they could never see for themselves otherwise. This is why so much art from the pre-photographic majority of human history strives for realism in one way or another. Events couldn't be recorded spontaneously on Snapchat or Instagram, so their archival was, much like human memory, hazy and imperfect, but at the same time, highly conducive to sentiment and storytelling. So why in the modern world of perfect recapture would Bean try to paint what he saw on the moon? Well, many of the scenes captured in his paintings feature perspectives that the Hasselblad camera brought up with the astronauts couldn't possibly capture. And there's also just a tangible element to his canvases that goes beyond film. Bean integrated his lunar boot prints and pieces of his moon dust-covered mission patches into his paintings, providing a very physical connection to the real story of those missions. The medium of painting was an outlet for Bean's lifelong fascination with space, and it marks the living memory of what will one day be as essential a chapter in American history textbooks as the Revolutionary War. It's all too easy to take a photo for granted, but there's just something mythic and storied about painting. So, when we're an intergalactic civilization spanning multiple worlds, hopefully we'll look back on Bean's paintings and appreciate the old-fashioned, imperfect way he displayed his amazing experiences for the rest of us to see, at a time when the stars seemed so far away. In the moment, it's hard to tell what will and won't be recorded down for future generations to remember, but it's hard not to imagine Bean's work being an essential part of the next phase of human history. Space travel is finally capturing the public eye for the first time in decades, and the hype is real. No matter what happens next, we can be proud of how far we once came, looking at Bean's depictions of what for so much of human history seemed like little more than an object in the sky. Godspeed, Mr. Bean. You were as pioneering an artist as you are an explorer. We'll keep reaching for the stars without you, but we'll always have your work to remember you and your travels by.